Hello, everyone, and welcome in the ever-twisting saga of American politics, where old grudges often resurface like unwelcome guests at a family reunion. Today brings a bombshell, the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey. This development, unfolding just days before key legal deadlines, reignites debates about justice, retribution, and the fragility of democratic institutions. We'll dive deep into the details, the backstory, and what it all means, staying grounded in facts while exploring the ripples it sends through Washington's power corridors. Let's start and stick with us as we unpack this story step by step. To understand today's news, let's rewind the clock a bit. James Comey, a towering figure, literally at 6'8", served as the seventh director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation from 2013 to 2017. Appointed by President Barack Obama, Comey quickly became a lightning rod in the stormy 2016 presidential election. Remember the email controversy surrounding Hillary Clinton? Comey publicly announced the reopening of that investigation just days before Election Day, a move that many Democrats still blame for tipping the scales toward Donald Trump. Fast forward to May 2017. Trump, now president, fires Comey amid the FBI's probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election and possible ties to the Trump campaign. Comey later testified before Congress that Trump had pressured him to drop the investigation into former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, famously quoting Trump as saying, "I hope you can let this go." This testimony fueled the appointment of Special Counsel Robert Mueller and years of political fireworks. Comey's post-FBI life hasn't been quiet either. He's authored books like A Higher Loyalty, where he compares Trump to a mob boss, and has been a vocal critic of the former president's leadership style. But today's indictment pulls us back to a specific moment, Comey's 2020 congressional testimony on Russian election meddling. It's here that prosecutors allege he crossed the line from witness to wrongdoer. What exactly is Comey accused of? The indictment, unsealed today in the Eastern District of Virginia, charges Comey with 2 felony counts, making a false statement to Congress and obstructing a congressional proceeding. These stem from his sworn testimony in September 2020 before the Senate Judiciary Committee, where he discussed the FBI's handling of intelligence on Russian efforts to influence the 2016 election. Prosecutors claim Comey knowingly provided misleading information about the reliability of certain sources and the Bureau's verification processes. Specifically, they point to discrepancies in how Comey described the infamous Steele dossier, a collection of opposition research on Trump that included unverified claims of Russian. If convicted, Comey could face up to 5 years in prison per count, though legal experts note that first-time offenders in such cases often receive lighter sentences or even probation. The case was brought just in the nick of time, mere days before the 5-year statute of limitations expired on these alleged offenses. In a quirk of timing that feels almost scripted, this deadline pressure adds an extra layer of drama to an already charged narrative. How did we get here? The road to this indictment was paved with political maneuvering. Following his re-election, President Trump has made no secret of his desire to hold accountable those he views as adversaries from his first term. Just last week, Trump appointed Lindsay Halligan, his personal lawyer, as the new U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia after the previous appointee, Eric Siebert, resigned under reported pressure for refusing to pursue charges against Comey. Halligan, lacking prior prosecutorial experience in such high-profile cases, moved swiftly to convene a grand jury. CNN reports that the 7 days leading up to the indictment were marked by internal Dodge turmoil, including resignations and heated debates over the merits of the case. Notably, no career prosecutors from the office signed off on the indictment, raising eyebrows among legal observers about potential political influence. This isn't the first time questions of Dodge independence have arisen under Trump. Recall the controversies surrounding Attorney General Bill Barr during the Mueller probe. In a subtle nod to the irony here, one can't help but recall how Comey himself was accused of politicizing the FBI back in 2016. Now the tables have turned, or have they spun full circle? It's a reminder that in politics, yesterday's accuser can become today's accused, often with the same playbook in hand. Comey didn't waste time responding. In a statement released shortly after the news broke, He framed the charges as a personal attack but vowed to fight them vigorously. My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way, he said. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid. This isn't just rhetoric. Comey's family has already felt the fallout. His daughter, Maureen Comey, a former prosecutor in the Southern District of New York who helped convict Ghislaine Maxwell in the Jeffrey Epstein case, was fired earlier this year. She claims it was politically motivated and has filed a lawsuit. Today, Comey's son-in-law, Troy Edwards, JRB, resigned from his role as a national security prosecutor in the same district where the indictment was filed. These personal tolls underscore how legal battles in Washington often spill over into family lives, turning public service into a high-stakes gamble. This indictment doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is part of what critics call President Trump's escalating campaign of retribution against perceived enemies. The Justice Department is reportedly gearing up for investigations into George Soros's Open Society foundations, with potential charges including arson and material support for terrorism, claims Soros dismisses as baseless attacks on civil society. Trump himself has hinted at more to come, telling reporters today, "This is about justice, not revenge," while applauding the Comey charges. He added that dirty cops like Comey had rigged systems against him for years. On the flip side, Democrats and legal watchdogs are sounding alarms. House Democrats called it a dangerous abuse of power, with one lawmaker quipping that the Dodge is starting to resemble a personal vendetta machine rather than a pillar of impartial justice. The New York Times reports Trump expects others, possibly including former intelligence officials, to face similar scrutiny soon. Even some Republicans have expressed unease, privately worrying about the precedent this sets for future administrations. Applying the same standards across the board, as fairness demands, we must ask, if misleading Congress is the bar, how many other testimonies from the past decade might warrant a second look? From Benghazi hearings to impeachment trials, selective prosecution could open a Pandora's box that no side wants fully unleashed. It's a light criticism of the system itself, not the players, but one that highlights how events like this erode public trust in institutions meant to be above the fray. Reactions poured in fast and furious. President Trump took to social media and a press gaggle to celebrate, calling Comey a dirty cop and the indictment justice in America. Supporters echoed this, viewing it as long overdue accountability for what they see as the FBI's role in the Russia hoax. Critics, however, paint a darker picture. Reuters describes it as an escalation in efforts to chill opposition, potentially deterring whistleblowers and critics from speaking out. The Guardian quotes lawmakers' warning of authoritarian overtones, with one saying, "This isn't justice. It's payback." Legal scholars on both sides agree the case is unusual. YouTube analyses are already dissecting it as unique in its political origins. To keep things balanced, consider this. Similar scrutiny has been applied to figures across the aisle in the past, like when Republicans decried the prosecutions of Trump allies. Fairness means holding everyone to the same evidentiary standards, regardless of party. If the charges stick based on solid proof, that's one thing. If they crumble under scrutiny, it could backfire spectacularly. What are the implications and what does this mean for America? Zooming out, this indictment raises profound questions about the health of U.S. democracy. Can the Justice Department remain independent when presidents appoint loyalists to key posts? History shows that politicizing law enforcement, whether through firings, appointments, or selective cases, weakens the rule of law. The AP notes Trump anticipates more charges against others, which could lead to a cascade of legal battles consuming the administration's bandwidth. On a societal level, it deepens divisions. Polls already show eroding trust in institutions. Events like this only accelerate that trend. Yet there's a silver lining. They spark conversations about reforms, like stronger protections for prosecutors or clearer guidelines on congressional testimonies. In a nation built on checks and balances, perhaps this is the jolt needed to reinforce them. As the dust settles on this indictment, one thing is clear. American politics remains a high-wire act where past actions echo into the present with unpredictable force. James Comey's case isn't just about one man, it's a litmus test for how the U.S. handles power, accountability, and forgiveness. Whether you see it as justice served or a vendetta pursued, the facts demand we stay vigilant and informed. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. See you tomorrow.